Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Just Like You show. I am your host, Alexis Christine, and I am a spiritual mindset coach and Reiki master, helping women break through their limiting beliefs, rewire their brain, and manifest the life of their dreams. Just Like You is a podcast for all of the divine souls looking for guidance on their healing and ascension journey. We explore the depths of the universe, hold space for vulnerable conversations about spirituality and self-development, delve into the esoteric things like how to manifest, star seeds, the astral realm, and shed light on taboo topics such as plant medicine and so much more. I am honored that you are here to take this journey with me. I want everyone listening to be able to leave each episode feeling inspired and having learned something tangible to take away into their day-to-day life. If you feel called to work with me or explore this work deeper, please reach out at imalexischristine.com or you can DM me on Instagram at iam.alexischristine. Hello, my beautiful divine souls. How are y'all doing? I hope you're having the most wonderful day. I had put in my Instagram a little while ago asking for topics that you guys wanted to hear about on this season of Just Like You. And a few people asked about my healing journey. And while that is way too much of a story for one podcast episode, I thought I would tell you guys a story about a recent journey that I just had here in Costa Rica about a week and a half ago, maybe almost 2 weeks ago now. And it was one of the most profound healing experiences of my entire life. And that's not even an exaggeration. I honestly feel like I did more processing and releasing work on this one trip than I have even in my ayahuasca ceremonies, oddly enough. And while the ayahuasca was super powerful, it was doing something different for me, if that makes sense. So with the ayahuasca, it was giving me downloads and allowing me to realize things and seeing areas where I needed to grow and change my life in one way. And this just allowed me to open and release and fully support and surrender. And I don't know, it was just the most insane experience. So we're going to jump into that. I wanted to let you guys know that this is not something that happens a lot to me. It has never happened to me before, ever, on the type of psychedelic that I took. So it was just the most insane experience, but it was also one of the most vulnerable moments I've ever had with myself and one of the most healing things I think I could have ever experienced. But first, I am pulling the card for the collective for today's episode, and 3 of them actually came out. So if one of them doesn't, maybe there's just a lot of different energy happening at the time that y'all are going to be listening to this. So there will be a card for each of you. I don't know, but let's go through them. Okay, so the first one is deep knowing, and the energies related to it are sunstone and your sacral chakra, and it's about wisdom, focus, and being centered. And it basically talks about that we all have our intuition in us. We know everything that we need to. We need to start trusting our gut, allowing all of our senses to be there and trust them, and essentially that we have all of the answers that we need already within ourselves. And what's so interesting is I just spoke about my ayahuasca ceremony, and in that ayahuasca ceremony I had a moment and I ended up getting a tattoo on my arm that literally represented to me everything that I have and everything that I need is within me. So very odd that those just happened. And the affirmation that you can say for this is, I am empowered with knowledge and wisdom from the divine and confident in my ability to sit in my unfaltering deep knowing. The second card is alignment, and the elements related are the Herkimer diamond and the Earth Star chakra. And you can think about this as universal oneness, attunement, and receiving. And just to let you know, the Earth Star chakra is an energetic umbilical cord connected to you that flows straight down through Mother Earth and anchors all 12 of the chakras together. It lives outside your body in your auric field. And so this card is telling us that when we're in chakra alignment, so all 12 chakras are in alignment, you're in tune with your body and your mind and your spirit, and you can activate all of your chakras. The affirmation you can use for this one is, I harness Mother Earth's grounding energies and become part of the collective oneness where I am in true alignment. Okay, and the last one is discipline. The elements related to this are Azurite and Saturn. And you can think of this card as clear communication, blockage removal, and spirit guides. And this card is basically reminding us that things aren't going to come right away all the time. In the society that we've built for ourselves, we have this expectation that we're supposed to have immediate results, but that's not really how life works. So it's reminding us to ground back in and remember that our dreams, our goals, and desires are going to come, but there might be some hardships that come along that road that we have to pass before we can reach success. And the affirmation for this one is I am working slowly with discipline to learn the lessons Saturn is teaching me. And oh my Lord, I am finishing my Saturn return right now. Do I understand the freaking lessons Saturn is teaching us? Okay, your Saturn return is a freaking powerful time. And really, when you reach it, dive in, go deep, and you will reap the rewards after. Quick PSA that all of my experiences are my own. I am not condoning or recommending that you guys do any of the plant medicines or healing that I am doing. I am simply sharing my experiences to give better awareness and understandings of how these medicines work. If you are interested in doing any of the plant medicines, I would make sure you do your research and consult with the proper sources, shamans, etc., and make sure that you feel truly ready. And please do not say that I told you to do it, because I'm telling you right now, I am not telling you to do it. Okay, so now let's get started. I am in Costa Rica, obviously, and I was hanging out with one of my friends here, and we were talking about how one of their friends had recently cut them off. And just to be able to relate, I was telling them about how that happened to me last year. And to my surprise, as we were chatting, I started to get teary-eyed about it. And so in my head, I was like, okay, maybe there's still something there that I need to work through. So a couple days later, I'm chilling in my little casita, and I had some mushroom chocolate that I had made in London. I basically just like ground up dried mushrooms and blended them and then put them in a chocolate mold. And basically each chocolate was a gram, right? And I had one chocolate left. So I was like, okay, I finished all my microdosing stuff back when I was in Toronto, and I was on around 0.25 a day. So, well, not a day, but like per dose. So maybe this time I'll just cut my 1 gram chocolate into quarters and do a micro, and then, open my journal and start journaling about the situation and just see what comes up. So I take the micro, I start journaling, things are normal. I'm also, the whole time that this experience is happening, I am playing medicine music. So if you don't know what medicine music is, it's basically a genre of music that's made by shamans and healers and that sort of thing that is basically made with a lot of love and intent and just like warm hugging energy. I don't really know how else to explain it, but they're played a lot in ayahuasca ceremonies. And Isla Schaefer, if you don't know who she is, she's an amazing medicine music woman. You should definitely go check her out. So that kind of music I was playing, and I was journaling, and it was nice to just kind of release, but it wasn't anything out of the ordinary. I was like, okay, true, I'm just journaling. And I went to the washroom, and all of a sudden I started feeling like this anxiety in my chest. And normally I get a little bit of anxiety on the come up. So within probably half an hour to like 2 hours of the start of the trip. And I'm usually with people, and I don't have the space to be able to deal with it. I just kind of ignore it and wait till it goes away. And I'm not the only person that has this. There's a lot of people that I know that also feel the same way, like they need to be like moving or, whatever. It's just all part of the come up. And so because I was on my own, I was like, I'm just going to like go sit at my desk, close my eyes, and allow myself to feel this. So if you guys have been following my journey at all, you know that I grew up repressing my emotions, and a big part of my journey has been learning how to feel them and actually release them from my body. And so when you're trying to feel an emotion and release it, you're not supposed to repress it or try and take it away. You're supposed to embrace and acknowledge that it's there and really just feel it, because then it'll go away on its own and you've released it. You haven't held any part of it back being stored into your system. So I sat down in my chair, I put my hand on my chest, I closed my eyes, and I just took a big deep breath in to like really feel that anxiousness in my chest. And all of a sudden, I let out massive tears. I just started crying and sobbing, and I don't know where it came from. That anxiety in my chest must have been an emotion that was trying to come out. And it like was the hardest that I've cried in a very, very long time, like legitimately sobbing, My nose was running. I had to keep blowing my nose. It was the most pure release I've ever had. It actually reminded me of the first time I took LSD outside and we found this body of water in the middle of a forest, and I just burst into tears. Like it was like a weight had lifted off my shoulders that we'd found this like body of water. So it was kind of like that. Like it just came out of me from nowhere, and I was crying for probably about half an hour, 40 minutes, and then I would stop and I'd be okay. And then I would start journaling again, and then something else would make me cry, or a medicine song would come on that I like had a deep connection to, or I really loved, or like the lyrics were connecting with me in that moment, and I would start crying again. And it basically was just this like 2 hour long crying on and off session. And the music would come on and I would sing with it. And then as I was singing, I would start crying because the words were resonating. And as all this is happening, I'm starting to have like thoughts in my head going through, I guess, related to the emotions that I was releasing. And some background on me is that basically every single relationship that I have been in, the guy has just kind of up and left. And it's just been a theme. And then when I look back at basically almost all my guy friends, they kind of did the same thing. Like we would be friends, and then all of a sudden they would start dating someone and they would just cut me off without even telling me, because their girlfriend didn't like that they had a friend that was a girl that they were really close to, you know? Like, so it was just a pattern of like men in my life just choosing to cut me off so harshly for no reason at all, whether it was a relationship or a friendship. And so as these thoughts are coming to my brain, it's obviously starting with the one friend who cut me off last year, who also happened to be a guy because he didn't like someone that I was dating. And there was, you know, just a whole thing with it. And so I'm starting to process that. And I'm realizing that I never fully allowed myself to process that, because when it happened, I was obviously seeing that person. And so all my energy went into that. And then when that thing with that person ended, I just focused on healing that from that relationship, and then went on living my life last year. And I kind of never really allowed myself to process the loss of a friendship. And I almost feel like losing a friendship is harder than losing a relationship. And I've obviously experienced both, because the friend is someone who like you've been with for so long. They're literally like this person literally was my brother in London. He was one of my best friends. And it's like you would just do so many things with them. And I feel like a relationship, like when that ends, I guess it depends how long the relationship's been, but this had only been I want to say a few months. It was on and off for a while, but a few months. And so like that compared to losing someone that I had been so deeply connected with for a really long time, like that was something really, really, really hard for me. And so all of that started coming up. And then as soon as I realized that I was processing and releasing that, my brain just started jumping to all of the past memories of every single guy who had done that to me before, whether it was an ex or an ex-friend. So it was just like jumping from one memory to another. And I realized that I was releasing the emotion and the hurt that was connected to all of that in general. And a lot of what I had experienced in those situations was part of what led me to the belief of I'm not good enough, because people would always just up and leave me. So like clearly there must be something wrong with me, right? Like that was my mindset. And so I like had this realization of holy shit, I'm releasing so much right now. Like this is so crazy. And I'm like crying and I'm chanting and I'm doing whatever. And out of nowhere, I just started saying like, I forgive you. So basically forgiving like everyone, not a specific person, but just I forgive the action of like up and leaving or abandoning me or whatever it was. I forgive you. I forgive you. And then I was like saying things like, I understand, like it has nothing to do with me. It's about like you and what, oh shit. This is what happens when I talk with my hands. I hit the mic, you know, about what you're going through at that time and where you're at mentally, and just having acceptance and forgiveness. And then I was able to just yell, like, I release it. I release you, like cutting that cord completely. So that was a really, really, really cool experience. That's not something I've ever experienced before. And it was something that was just so intuitive. Like there was no prompts telling me to do that or anything. Like it just felt so natural. And then from that, it progressed into me forgiving myself, like for everything I had put myself through in 2020, for repressing the emotions, for emotionally eating, for staying in a corporate job that was sucking the life out of my soul. Like, I put myself through so much last year. And so I just started forgiving myself and apologizing to myself for everything that I had done to it. And so that was really cool. And then I started like being able to look in the mirror and actually talk to myself and say, you are enough. I love you. I'm here for you. I accept you, which I don't know if you guys have ever tried to do mirror work, but when you're looking in the mirror at yourself and you're trying to tell yourself things like that, it can be really freaking difficult. And for a lot of years, that was the first time I've ever done it. And I haven't felt awkward or embarrassed or like started laughing or just felt weird about it. Like, I truly was looking at myself and giving myself the space and holding space for myself to be like, I'm here for you. I love you. Like, we're good. We got this. So that was a really, really magical moment. And then I had stopped crying for a little bit. I was just like singing along with the music. I had to pee again. So like I went to the bathroom. And as soon as I got up, I started feeling this anxiety again. So I was like, what the heck is going on? So again, like I sat down, put my hand on my chest, breathed into it, and nothing happened. And then I said to myself, I'm here for you. I love you. And then boom, water work started again. It was like, that was the first time in my entire life where I truly was here for myself, supporting myself and giving myself the space to process and release without any shame, without any judgment, without any embarrassment, like just pure love and light given to myself. Because really all we have in this world is ourselves. We can make connections, we can be friends with other people and have other people join us on our journey, but at the end of the day, like, we're with us, we're all we got. And so that was just I think a moment of like pure oneness and coming together. And then when I was done with that whole crying situation and releasing, it like really felt like it was gone. And then like somehow the music on my medicine music playlist just started getting a little more upbeat. And so I started like kind of like bobbing my head in my chair, like even sober, when there's like a good song coming on and I can like feel the beat, I just kind of bop to whatever it is, whatever I'm doing. And so I just like had the intuitive urge to get up and dance. So then I got up and I just started dancing. And I really feel like somatic healing is a powerful thing. And I go to ecstatic dance a lot. I really enjoy it, but I've never been able to fully release and express in an ecstatic dance. There's just this hold over me, I think. There's like a lot of things that go into it, which we can talk about in another episode, but it's like fear of judgment and like all these other things. So this was the first time where I was just like dancing on my own without any judgment, without any like shame around it, just like truly moving to whatever my body felt like it needed to do. And I actually started zoning out at times, and I would like zone back into my body and be like, whoa, like what is this movement that I'm doing? Where did this come from? Like, I'm actually getting kind of dizzy. Maybe I should stop moving my head. Oh my God, guys, I need to stop talking with my hands. And I got to the point where I literally like my body was moving and shaking in ways that I have never experienced before. And I think if people saw me, they would have been like, thought I was possessed or something. But it was just the most intense release I've ever had in my entire life. And like, even when the music stopped and the song changed or whatever it was, like it was a few songs I was dancing for, but when it all kind of stopped and the playlist ended, my body just kept moving. It was like, no, bitch, I'm not done releasing yet. So it like kept going. And then slowly it started like winding down. It wasn't an abrupt stop. It was just like my head stopped moving, and then my shoulders stopped moving, and then my arms stopped swaying, and then my hips stopped swaying. It was like a piece by piece thing. And I just felt so good after. I felt so amazing. It was like I was feeling a whole new version of myself. And I had this book, The Four Agreements. I love it. I've read it multiple times. And I just saw it, and I brought it for a friend actually. But I looked at it and I was like, you know what? Like, I need to read this again. So I sat outside and I started reading The Four Agreements. And like, keep in mind, like the mushrooms are still in my system at this point. I read the entire book in one sitting, and I connected with it in ways that I never have before. It was insane. The amount of like similarities, synchronicities, things that were coming up. And there was actually something in there that made me realize, I don't know how to word this. It was like something that he was explaining an example of something that happened like in childhood that creates stories in our brain. And as I was reading it, I was like, oh my God, like this is exactly what happened to me. No wonder I'm like this way. And so there was just so many connections that I made. And eventually it started to wear off. And I think the last couple chapters that I was reading of the book, I stopped feeling that deep connectedness to it. And that's how I knew the mushrooms were, like kind of flowing out of my system, because mushroom trips don't last too long. And yeah, so I had a really chill day. I walked to the beach to watch the sunset. Wasn't what I thought it was going to be, because the beach had alligators and I left. But then I took myself out to a really nice dinner and just came home and had a chill evening. So it was honestly one of the most transformative healing experiences I've ever had in my life. And I don't know why the universe chose now to give it to me. And like, it might be because even if it was just a microdose, when I was at home, I was either working on the days I was also microdosing, or I was around my family. Like, I wasn't fully alone, or maybe it just was a little bit more than a microdose. And because I was alone in a safe space with no fear of judgment or other people hearing what I was doing, or like whatever it is, that I was able to fully go deep and dive into it. I honestly have absolutely no idea, but I truly hope that every single one of you gets to experience this type of like release and transformation at least once in your life. Because even though I was crying, like, it wasn't hard, it wasn't hurting, it was just a pure release. There was no sadness, no negative emotions. It was literally just like my body was getting rid of all of this extra energy, and I actually was able to forgive and like legitimately forgive and move on. So I wasn't holding on to these things anymore. And then I was so happy after. I felt so euphoric. It felt amazing. Like, I don't know. I think if people had more of these types of experiences, the world would be a much happier and nicer place. So my wish for all of you is that at some point you're able to have this type of experience, whether it is with psychedelics or plant medicine, or whether it's with breath work, or, even just journaling sometimes can be a really powerful release. So I hope that this journey of part of my healing story, I guess, was helpful to you guys, or kind of what you were looking for when you asked for this in the comment box on Instagram. But if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me. I'm happy to expand further on certain things. And yeah, if you guys are enjoying the podcast, please give us a review, give us a rating, share it with your friends. I just want to help as many people heal and live a happy, abundant life as possible. And doing those things with the podcast helps it grow and helps it reach more people. So I hope you guys have the most amazing rest of your day, coming from someone just like you.